you ever looked up at the night sky, pondering the mysteries of the universe, and thought to yourself, gee, I wonder what bats smell like? Regardless of whether your answer was, why yes, I have, or no, who are you and how did you get into my house? You are certainly in for a treat today. I am about to do what no man has done before, and believe me, I checked. I will not just tell you what certain bats smell like. Oh no, I'm going to rank them. It's tier list time, folks. I am going to organize these animals by how good or bad they smell. In this glorious feat, my name in this task shall be cemented in the annals of history until the end of time, or until I'm demonetized. Whichever comes first. Here's the rundown. We have 14 bats here today, each with their own scent. I'll be going through them in taxonomic order, starting with vesper bats and ending with pteropodids. The tiers I will be ranking these 14 bats in are genuinely pleasant, good, uncertain, ew, and visceral for the truly stankiest of creatures. On top of ranking, I will also be telling you cool tidbits and facts about each of the species, so you'll be learning more about than just what they smell like. Before I start, a bit of a disclaimer, I've never smelled any bat. Not one. I've simply never had the, pleasure. So, I will judge the bats by how much I like the description of their smells. Now, keep in mind that my judgment is final and objective. There are two opinions in this world, mine and wrong. For your sake, I hope you share the former. First of the vesper bats is the pallid bat. Pallid bats are delightful little creatures and some of my favorite North American bats. Their faces are lovely, with big eyes and ears they can also use to cover their eyes when sleeping like a little night mask. Their nostrils are often adorably described as resembling cinnamon rolls. But don't let those looks fool you. They're voracious predators that specialize in taking down dangerous prey such as scorpions and centipedes. They can only go after such dangerous quarry due to an immunity to venoms, which allow them to shrug off bites and stings. They don't just eat venomous arthropods, though. In fact, pallid bats are the only omnivorous bat in the United States, just as happy to chow down on fruit, nectar, flowers, and even the occasional unlucky small lizard or rodent. Also noticeable is the fact that they're the only terrestrial hunting bat in North America, and when they locate prey scurrying on the ground, they quickly land and silently stalk their prey before pouncing and dispatching it with bites. Pallid bats don't seem to have much of a smell, but when they're stressed they give off a somewhat skunky odor. As such, I must regrettably place them in ew. Evening bats are small, common bats in the eastern United States. Although they look like any other small, generic vesper bat, their biology is quite weird. Despite their tiny size, no more than 15 grams, they are quite robust and can tackle insects with tougher exoskeletons than other similarly sized bats. Unusually, these bats have rather short lifespans and don't typically live beyond 5 years. For a mammal of their size, this is still a long life, but it's on the short end for a bat. This might be due to them reproducing more quickly than other bats. 90% of females have twins. This may mean that they don't need to live as long to have the same amount of offspring. Also unusual is their sex ratio, which isn't 1-to-1 but actually skewed, with there being more males than females. Their scent is like burnt oranges, and I am honestly not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, uncertain? Sale insists that this must smell like garbage, however, but this isn't his tier list. It's mine, so I don't care what he says. Giant noctules are usually considered the largest bats in Europe at 74 grams. Only Egyptian rousettes, which barely range into the Mediterranean, are larger. They are also the only opportunistically carnivorous bats in Europe, and will go after small birds as they migrate at night. Death by noctule must be terrifying for a bird, as bat echolocation is too high-pitched for most birds to hear, and their flight is practically silent. Like, imagine you're a small bird flying south with your buddies, yeah? On your left is Jeff, a really annoying robin that you only put up with because the ladies like him, and you think by associating with him, some of his luck might rub off on you. So far, your luck hasn't been affected in the slightest, and the loneliness is becoming unbearable. Every day, you wake up and feel your life force drained to a fraction of what it was the day before. You're running out of time, as the world waits for no bird, and you've got a good 2 or 3 years left in you, if you're lucky. Soon you will be dust in the void, and no one will remember you even lived. Time will march on regardless of any progeny you create, and continue to be as apathetic to their existence as it was to your own. Anyway, you feel a rush of wind to your left and look over to ask Jeff to keep his wings to himself, but when you look over, Jeff is gone. Unbeknownst to you, it was probably for the best. He's secretly just been trying to coerce you into joining his pyramid schemes so he doesn't default on a loan he took out to buy a beachfront condo in Florida. Terrible idea. Condos depreciate in value about as quick as the miracle noctule vibe-checked Jeff out of the sky. The reports of what giant noctules smell like are mixed. Some claim they have an old man smell, and others claim they smell like rotten garlic. Either way, not exactly pleasant. Ew. Last but not least for the Vesper bats is the northern hoary bat. I've already talked about northern hoary bats quite a bit in a previous video, so I won't go into too much detail here. They have pretty tricolored fur that's black, brown, and silver. They're among the most widespread bats in North America. They're just really cute. Unfortunately, they stink. I'm sorry, but it's true. Northern hoary bats smell of urine and rotten fish. Don't get me wrong, I like fish, just not rotten fish. I guess God had to counterbalance their perfectness somehow. Hunk of your hoary is going to kill me. Fortunately, the smell isn't very strong, and that's the only thing saving them from being the first bats in visceral tier. Still you, though. Moving on from the Vesper bats, we now start with the free-tailed bats. Like all molluskids, Mexican free-tailed bats are built for speed. Famous for possibly being the fastest actively flying animal on the planet, their thin but powerful wings are able to carry them at blinding speeds at more than 100 miles per hour. Now, I'm sure some of you must be thinking, Red, you really have gone batty. Everyone and their mom knows peregrine falcons are the fastest flying animals. Well, you see, they don't actually fly when they reach those blinding speeds. It's a stoop, so it's more of aggressive falling than anything else. So, in terms of self-powered level fight, the bat wins out. So yeah, they're speedy little buggers. Really cool thing about molluskids, their ears double as an extra pair of wings, being little airfoils that help the bat steer and brake. Mexican freetails love eating corn moths, so much that they save farmers millions a year on pesticides. Because their food has in turn eaten so much corn, the bats themselves emit a scent that is described to smell like corn chips, corn tortillas, or even tacos. This is because of a special compound, I'm going to butcher this, 2-aminocettophone, which gives corn goods their smell too. There is actually an entire paper that examines why they smell the way they do. I'll put it in the description if you want to read it. When excited, males also release a sweet floral scent from their golar gland. Definitely pleasant. I hope that now whenever you smell corn products, you will think of a tiny, fast-flying bat. Western bonneted bats are our largest bat here in the United States, weighing up to 75 grams and can have a wingspan of just under 2 feet. If you thought Mexican free-taileds were aerodynamic, you haven't seen anything yet. The ears of bonneted bats, and some other molluskids, have actually partially fused to maximize airfoil efficiency to better aid in flight. This is entering the realm of speculation at this point, but some bat researchers think that due to the much larger size and further adaptations for fast flight, large molluskids like bonneted bats might surpass Mexican freetails in maximum flight speed. But actual studies will need to be carried out to see if this idea holds water at all. Another thing, the genus name of bonneted bats is Eumops, which can be literally translated to good bat, a naming decision I wholeheartedly agree with. As for their scent, male western bonneted bats' golar gland secretions are described as smelling like a musky orange rind. I think that's good. At the very least, that puts them in genuinely pleasant. Last for the molluskids, we have the molluscid itself, the type species of its genus and family, the Velvety free-tailed bat, Molossus molossus. They get their name from their shiny reddish coat of fur. They seem to like to roost in both natural and man-made crevices, which is kind of fitting considering I've been told by someone who has worked with them in the field that they emit a kind of musky, minerally odor. I have no idea what this means because rocks don't usually smell good or bad, so I'm just going to stick them in uncertain. Moving on to the leaf-nosed bats, first up is the Jamaican fruit bat. These bats betray their subfamily of Stenodermatinae by the presence of very faint white stripes on their face. These stripes are much more developed in other related species. Despite their name, these bats are widely distributed outside of Jamaica, and might be the only completely frugivorous bat in the United States. I know some sources claim they can be found in some parts of the Florida Keys, but others say they might just be vagrants, so maybe not. Like other Stenodermatines, these bats make their own houses in the form of leaf tents. The bat will find a big leaf that it likes and bite the central part so it droops down to form a living tent. They sleep there together in groups of about 15 individuals. Unexpectedly, their scent is described as being similar to perfumed soap, so they definitely deserve a spot up in Pleasant. Perhaps an unexpected entry, we have a vampire in our ranks. Specifically, the white-winged vampire, Diamus youngi. Less well-known and nowhere near as common as the, common vampire, Desmodus rotundus, they are also blood drinkers, but prefer the blood of birds over mammals. When options are limited, however, they will of course parasitize domestic mammals and, when particularly desperate, even humans. I should stress, however, that that is far from common and their normal hosts are large birds. They get their name from their wings, which have white tips and rims, which no other vampire species has. When angry, these bats will open their mouths to reveal two glands that give off an incredibly foul-smelling fluid that smells similar to a skunk. On top of this, vampires often already stink of iron due to their diet of blood. So yeah, vampires do not smell good, white wings especially. So not good, and I say that I would argue they deserve to be our first bat in visceral tier. Last of the leaf-nosed bats is Seba's short-tailed bat. These small, widespread, and adaptable bats are among the most frequently kept members of their family in captivity. Due to their commonness, they are well studied, and much is known about their behavior. For instance, males will engage in boxing matches with each other over territory. Two males will size each other up and start hitting each other with one of their wings until one backs down. Ladies love it, trust me. Unfortunately for these bats, they smell like sperm. Visceral. We go over to the other side of the bat family tree, to our last family, Pteropodidae. The first species is the white-collared fruit bat. Although bats of the family Pteropodidae have historically been called megabats, many species in this family are small enough to fit in your hand, and white-collared fruit bats are one of these species. It has a very broken-up range, found in peninsular Thailand, northern Borneo, and the island of Mindanao in the Philippines. To make things more confusing, it's possible that individuals from these different islands are all different, albeit closely related species that have yet to be described. Like the other flying dogs of the subfamily Cynopterinae, the wing bones can actually be seen through the skin, giving them a sort of skeletal look. These bats have a pair of scent glands on the neck with stiff hairs that are often stained yellow with secretions. These secretions have a very sweet smell, which Rodrigo Medellin, a famous bat researcher and conservationist, has compared to candy. I think it's safe to put them in Pleasant. The greater musky fruit bat has a much less confusing range, being endemic to the Philippines. Another smaller megabat, the greater musky fruit bat is still the largest member of its genus at up to 97 grams. It is another member of the flying dog subfamily, and is in fact in the same taxonomic tribe as the white-collared fruit bat, so they're quite closely related. Like their relatives, they also have musky glands on their shoulders, which stains the fur there. I have found some conflicting information about what these glands smell like. Mammals of the World Volume 9 claims they smell like cinnamon, but someone who has worked with these bats in the field has told me they smell more like body odor and sweat than anything else. These seem like wildly different and contradictory descriptions, and I suppose it's possible different individuals have different smells. I'm going to put them in uncertain. Next is the physically largest bat I will rank, the African straw-colored fruit bat. These hefty bats weigh in at up to 350 grams and have a wingspan of over 3 feet. These bats are famous for their huge migrations, which are the largest known for any mammal. Millions of these bats will travel thousands of kilometers to Kansaka National Park in Tanzania every year to take advantage of the great amount of ripe fruit. More research is needed to understand these migrations, as some populations don't seem to migrate at all, and others still don't have known destinations. These bats get their name from, you guessed it, their straw-colored fur and the fact that they live almost exclusively in Africa. There is, however, in my opinion, a much better name they have that I don't think is used enough. The pale xenarthri. Definitely much more memorable and interesting than just straw-colored fruit bat. Much like pallid bats, they don't have much of a smell, but when stressed give off an odor described as smelling like a combination of licorice and road tar. Licorice doesn't smell bad, but I can't imagine it would combined with road tar, so into you it goes. The last pteropodid and the last bat I will be ranking here today is the Egyptian rousette. Among the most widespread and well-studied bats in its subfamily, as you may remember, they are the only fruit bats that range into Europe, although this is by hair and honestly barely counts. They are, however, common in the Middle East and Africa. They are extremely adaptable and seem to adapt well to human-modified habitats, if not directly benefit from it. One of the keys to their success is a highly flexible diet. Although they prefer soft fruits like ripe figs, they will eat just about whatever fruit they can bite through the skin of, such as apples and citrus fruits. They have also been known to eat flowers, leaves, and actively hunt insects for dietary enrichment and extra protein. There's honestly a lot to talk about with these guys. Maybe enough for a future bat box. Now, the time of final judgment has arrived. Will the rosette's stink banish it to the lowest tiers, or will its supple scent allow it to join the ranks of the genuinely pleasant-smelling few? According to my sources, Egyptian rosettes smell of, drumroll please, fruit jam. Truly astounding. I don't think it's possible to dislike the smell of fruit jam, unless it's made from durian or something. So, without question, I can place them in pleasant. And with that, I've done it. I have ranked bats by their smells. They said it was impossible, and it couldn't be done, but I've done it nonetheless. The channel is all downhill from here. I bet you didn't expect my return from the abyss to be marked by a bat smell video. I didn't. Would you believe I almost forgot April Fool's Day was coming up? Yep, this video almost didn't exist at all. Yeah, this video is kind of an experiment. If people like this stuff, I'll probably make more. Heck, I might even make a ranking bats by their smells too if people find more smell descriptions for me. My primary source for this video was Batworld Sanctuary's Essence of Bats webpage. Some descriptions from various Rodrigo Medellin videos, and some conversations from Twitter. As always, if I presented any outdated information or somehow got something blatantly wrong in this video, please leave a comment about it letting me know. I am by no means an expert, and I do not pretend to be. Although I don't really think you can be a smell expert. Maybe you can. I don't know. If you have a suggestion for a non-smell related topic regarding bats, or a species or group you'd like me to cover, mention it in the comments below and I might do a video on it in the future. As always, thank you for watching.